Hello, everyone, and welcome back to JaianMusic Notes. Today is a very special episode, something that's not a soundtrack breakdown. It's not a solo episode. We have the creator of Project Shuriken, who produces a fantastic Naruto Abridged series, GoPro Kyo. Hey, he is also the artist for JaianMusic Notes, and he is amongst us this evening. How are you, my friend?
I have descended. Hello, everyone.
A man I've been dying to get on the show because we have a lot of history. We've done a lot of projects, and now here we are, and he is guesting today.
Burned a lot of bridges together.
Before, a lot of bridges together.
Oh, no, I said
well
said. We burned some bridges together.
Bridges. I understood what you said. Yeah, abridged. I heard that.
No, just regular bridge.
We burnt the Dragon Ball Abridged. We burnt the One Piece Abridged. I'm not even gonna cap when I say this. Technically, we burnt Soul Eater Abridged.
That too.
That was a thing for a whole Skype call.
Yeah.
Yes, I said Skype. That's how far back we
That's
go.
That's true. I forget about Skype sometimes.
Hey, you know what? We all should.
Yeah.
It's okay. We're not sponsored by Skype.
It can't hurt us anymore.
Yeah. Before we get into all this conversating and everything, I want to thank the sponsor of JaianMusic Notes, Laser Audio Technologies. They do amazing effects plugin such as Fram and Glow. Go check them out. Link in the description. If you use code JaianMusic, you will get 25% off your purchase, and every single dollar from that code goes straight into the podcast. It goes into producing more artwork from GoPro Kyo, more episodes, so please go use code JaianMusic. Okay, usually I also plug you right after that, but you're amongst us at GoPro Kyo on social media. He does all the artwork. So, Kyo, but let's just say I'm a JaianMusic Notes listener, and I'm used to 2-episode formats where it's soundtrack breakdowns of anime soundtracks and solo episodes where I talk about my own covers. Today you're here and you're talking about Naruto Abridged from Project Shuriken, which has used some of my covers in it. So we're going to tie it all at the end with that. But for someone who's not familiar with abridging, which is, I will say, not as mainstream as it once was, what is abridging? And then more specifically, what is Project Shuriken about and Naruto Abridged about for you and your definition?
So originally, before I actually answer, I've done this at least like 3 or 4 times. Like I've tried to get a abridged series off the ground several times, and I've done Naruto at least 3 separate times. One of them actually got posted, and then this is the second time that I've actually had them online for an extended period of time. But
yes, and we love that.
But to actually answer what abridging is, it's a very loose term that essentially means it is a parody fan dub. This has been kind of stretched a little bit. Like the best example that literally everybody knows and everybody should be aware of is Dragon Ball Z Abridged by Team 4-Star, and it's hard to not talk about them because they are the closest to being like mainstream as far as like what abridging is.
Yes.
And it's hard to not be inspired by what they did. And like, I literally cannot say that I was not inspired by them because I literally was. I was there while they were posting in like 2010, like when it first started coming out, like in 2009, I think.
Yes, absolutely. You were ahead of the curve with that 100%, and I was a little bit a part of that, doing some sound design and like one line of voice acting here and there. So I can absolutely agree with you when you say that. Yeah,
so for those who don't know, Jaian actually was a part of a abridged series, or our abridged series for Naruto years ago. Back in like 2017, 2016, I think.
Like 2015, bro.
Roughly, yeah. So like...
Yeah, like almost, like basically a decade ago at this point.
Yeah, actually, yeah, it has been like almost 10 years since then. But yeah, like Jaian originally played Zabuza when we first took a swing at this, and now Justin S. is our current Zabuza, and we're about to kill him off in the next episode. Spoilers for that.
Great. You don't want to be Zabuza for too long.
No, yeah,
and
he's
now
he's been having the we've had issues with like his throat. Like if he does a recording session for like an hour, he's out the next day. So
now basically,
yeah.
My involvement, just for the listeners to know, was like, yes, I did some sound effects design in Zabuza in the first or second attempt at Naruto Abridged ever with you, and now I'm more of a backseat where I'll do some music, some post-production sound, like the reverbs and delays when like Naruto and Sasuke are running up the trees and everything. But outside of that, what's Project Shuriken about, and what's your vibe, your style when it comes to Naruto Abridged?
That's a little hard to answer because like most of the time people would be like going out to do like they want to be the next Team 4-star, and quite frankly that's not exactly what I'm going for. I just want to make something that's fun because this is just something that I highly enjoy. I like organizing projects, I like doing voice acting, I love editing like this. This is just something that I get to do like in my off time. And as to what Project Shuriken is about for me, it's really just it's just a dumping ground for me and the guys that I work with to experiment and try some new stuff. And we knew that Naruto was probably the best way to get people's attention and eyes on the channel because Naruto already has an established brand. And if you work off of an abridged series, you are technically banking off the existence and the existing fan base of it. So you kind of you kind of accept, or you are kind of banking on that exclusively because you know people will watch it.
No, absolutely. Which to your credit, and I have to compliment you a little over more than what you like being complimented when I say this. Long ways about to say that you have like definitely catered an audience to this thing. You see in the comments the amount of times I've read man, why did I discover this now and not when there's like 25 episodes for me to binge? I guess I'll subscribe and wait.
That was one of the first ones.
You know what I mean?
But
but like multiple times.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot more positive engagement with this episode or like 100%. With this iteration that we've been doing. And
you figured something out with this one for sure. It's so funny. Are you gonna stop me?
That's all Elmer. Elmer, the voice of Naruto and Sakura. She does voice acting like professionally on the side, and she is super funny. Like that was actually an improv that she did. Like when I'm doing recordings with Elmer, she will go off in a different direction entirely. And she's not very familiar with the Naruto series as much as you and I are, for example. But my favorite improv that she's ever done is in the first episode where Naruto is like staring at Zabuza in the tree, and he's just thinking like, I've never been so confused in my life. How are his toes not hurting while he's standing there? Ooh, butterfly. And that's
I mean, it's so good. It's so good. What my favorite scene, and then we'll start.
No, yeah, please go ahead.
Here, but we have to establish like the epicness of the comedy of this show. I'm telling you, I rewatch once in a while. I work on the show, and I'm also a fan of the show, which is like what you always want when you do these types of projects. Kakashi demonstrating chakra, walking up the tree, and then he's hanging off he's not hanging, but he's like sticking off the branch. He's like, so Sensei, isn't the blood gonna rush your head? No.
That one was my joke. I will say that was my joke. Like just
it's so good, dude.
But Hotshot Ginger came up with the punchline for it, which was when Kakashi just falls out of the tree. That's probably my favorite joke that he's ever submitted so far.
Oh no, that one is absolutely one of the best. Obviously you handle the post-production side of things a lot. I would say you're the only one outside of me that does post-production as far as I know. So a thing that you do is you select the music.
Yes.
You select that. You're the one who's downloading, acquiring, placing on a timeline, editing around, and telling yourself that music fits with that scene, with that emotion for that actor that I casted. There's like a huge domino here that I'm getting at. And you've done this multiple times because at this point, if I'm not mistaken, and please correct me if I'm wrong, Project Shuriken has done 3 full episodes.
We're currently on episode 3, yeah, and I'm in the midst of finishing the recording for episode 4. I've
cool.
like pre-laid the timeline, and the best thing about abridging is that like you have all your footage ready, and it's just a matter of like setting it up, and then once you get all the audio together, my least favorite part is organizing everybody's hour-long recording sessions because I have so many lines, or I only have like maybe 10 to 15 pages an episode, and because it's already like set, we have to pace with what we have. So it's a lot. The longest process is just going through everybody's lines and piling it together and figuring out which takes I like the most and just seeing which ones fit together. And something you also have to think about is like which line sounds like they're actually talking to somebody, because otherwise it feels really.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, it can fall very flat.
No, it absolutely can. So it's a very fine line. But specifically with the music, what do you look for when you're selecting a track of music for any particular scene? I don't care if it's a battle scene or anything. Like, what do you typically look for? Like, do you think a lot about like what style it's in, how fast it is, the emotion? Like, what is like a checkpoint for you when it comes to selecting the songs in an abridged series?
Obviously, like the biggest thing that you have to consider is like copyright, because music is very well protected. I will say music is very well protected on YouTube for the most part. It's at least protected for like people who work for record labels or like just general companies that have a soundtrack department or a division of some kind. So those are very well taken care of if you are a big time music producer. But if you're a small time music producer, YouTube is very fickle with that. So like, but to actually answer your question, one of the things that I really try to think about is what fits the vibe mostly. Like, I know that's a very vague term to use, but if it doesn't fit with where you feel it is emotionally, then it's not going to hit for anybody else. So like the biggest thing is for me is the mood of the song. And also something that I often find myself balancing between is, because I like the sound of the original soundtrack, but it gets so old when you're like 25 or like 30 episodes in and they've used the same track for the same type of scene over and over. And as much as I like that original soundtrack, it can get pretty grating very quickly.
So when you select these songs, copyright comes to mind, vibe comes to mind, understood.
Yeah.
But how many, I'm getting more towards my realm here, but I've noticed that you use covers of original songs from the series. So why do that? Like straight up, why select a cover of like an original when the original's available? And like what makes you make that decision? What influences that?
Well, obviously copyright is the biggest decision for that, because YouTube doesn't touch covers typically. Like, for example, I will say pretty much all the videos that we've done that have the I don't remember. I feel really bad. I don't remember what the song is. I think the song is Flow by Go, I think. I might be mistaking that.
It's the opposite.
Or it's Go by Flow. Is it? Oh, that's Fighting Dreamers though, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, okay. I'm mistaken, but either way, like the intro song that we use, it has been picked up on every single episode so far, but it hasn't been struck for it, but it very easily could be. The reason you use covers is because they fit, because if you really like the original music, I say use the original music, but also it's just easier to have like covers, because like at least you don't have to worry about the copyright as much. And if the theme of the song or the mood of the song fits with what you want, then I say go for that. And there has been a little bit been a little bit of a complaint in the comments about us not using the original soundtrack. There's a very clear reason. Like I just said, I like the original soundtrack, but I've heard it so many times, and there's nothing new about that. If you've already heard the song a million times, there's only so much you can do with that. At that point, I'm just doing another dub of the show, which this is a parody dub, yeah, but it's more important to me to convey what I feel about the scene and what I think conveys what I'm feeling from the scene. It's hard to explain, because like you're getting the scene in a third, like from a third iteration, because you have Kishimoto's original idea for the story from the manga, then you have the anime, and then you have me regurgitating the whole thing and interpreting it in my own way with a different kind of music. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. No, absolutely. It's different. It's different angles. Manga, original, abridged version. And it's like, where do I fit in this Venn diagram of that? Because I still want to be funny. I still want to be epic, and it's a scene-to-scene based thing for sure. Let's maybe start slowly getting into the two covers that you used.
All right.
Of mine for the series, because Kyo knows that he's my brother, and my library of music covers is his library of music covers anytime. So let's start with Naruto Abridged Episode 1 at 8 minutes and 59 seconds. The first song that we hear is Decision. My cover of Decision from Naruto. It's a big moment of doubt for Naruto, because he's questioning if he can actually take on Zabuza. And there's flashbacks with Iruka. And this cover was all strings, right?
Yeah.
And he's shaking, and he's there, And then eventually he puts that headband back on his face. And it cuts out right when, he puts his headband on he like tightens, and he's like, I'm taking you down with me, I'm taking Zabuza down with me. So it's very brief. It's only there for like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So why this piece? Why for that moment? What clicked?
I think the biggest reason I picked that song is because it's not fully melancholy. I should say it lives in a weird place tonally. It lives in a space between melancholy, reflective, and serene, I guess is the word for it. Because in the original scene, you have the dark, like da da da, or whatever the song was, but it's like it's showing Zabuza as intimidating, and it's trying to show him as being like this big and like horrifying force of nature that the kids are not ready for, and that's the whole point of the scene. Yes, but in my head, the part that I wanted to focus on specifically was Naruto's like thought process, because I will admit we haven't spent as much time on Naruto as I would like to have, because we've been like we're still kind of finding where we want to like take this, like just how to write this as a team and how we want to convey certain ideas. But this scene specifically was kind of important to me because I feel like it's a little misrepresented in the anime. And there's a notable edit that I think some people should know. Originally, he doesn't have the headband in that scene. The shot where he has his hand on the headband, I edited that. I put the headband underneath his hand. Yeah, that's not there in the original episode. If you look at the original episode on, like, say, Netflix or wherever it's available, it's not there. But what I basically did is I used the shot where he looks up and it looks like he's focusing. to make it look like he's touching the headband and thinking about what that headband means to him, because that headband was given to him by his master or his teacher. And that, if you know the original show, that's significant because at that when he gets that headband, he's been given it by somebody who's been scolding him, who seems really tough on him. But at the end of it, it's showing, oh, it's because he cares. And by the end of that episode, it shows that he cares because he knows now Naruto has grown. He sees the potential in Naruto, and he was right the whole time. And that also, to me, meant, and for this scene, it meant to me that Naruto had to remember that he was enough, like emotionally. He had to recognize that there is potential in him and that he can overcome the obstacle that is Zabuza.
Interesting. Kyo, here's another thing that I'm finding, and I think it's might throw you for a loop or might give you the perfect answer right away. You'll know why. Mm-hmm. But researching the song Decision, the original song Decision more, the results are giving me that this song is associated to a scene where Minato and Kushina died.
So
what are your thoughts on that, considering... Yeah.
I'll be completely honest, I actually did not know that.
But like, now that you know that...
It's been a while since I've seen that episode, and I've only seen through like portions of Shippuden once. I've read most of it. I've read through the manga, but that specific piece of music, I did not know that was what it was, and now
that's what Google's telling me.
It works thematically.
It
works thematically. I was thinking of it the whole time. I lied. I was thinking of it the whole time. I'm calling it now.
Ahead of the game.
Not actually.
The other thing too
very
here.
Dumb.
No, it's all good. This song, when I made it, I don't think I'll ever do like a solo episode on this song, so I can maybe give some inside baseball here. This was two orchestral string patches, meaning like ensemble patches. Like, you know how you can like choose a preset and it's just like the violin? This is like a set amount of violins, and it's just one that's dark and one that's bright. And I think the bright one's the lead, and the rhythmic section is more the dark one.
Right.
And it's really simply made. It's nothing crazy. The only thing I might have done a bit more on the edit is just like extend notes so that they like cross into each other instead of like one ending, one starting.
Oh, okay.
And then, you know, just a little bit of reverb and delay and just to hold it all together. So like tonally, it is a melancholic piece, and it's also quite much more of a high register song. I remember it being more like lead focused and like bass focused.
Right.
So I guess it's cool that that's the way it came across for you, that you put it in a scene where, you know, it felt melancholic and it felt like it just belonged and sat in the, what's the word I'm looking for? Doubt of Naruto. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I think that it's like doubt and melancholy are like, they're not the same emotion, but music that feels doubtful can fit for melancholic scenes, and music that feels melancholic can fit with scenes that, you know, where characters are showing doubt. Because that's what really Naruto, and the voice acting is so good on this one, with the delay on the voice, because, you know, it's like, it's all like an inner monologue. Like, I can't do this, he's too strong. Like, was that like, is that kind of like the effect that you use all the time on his voice? Or like, was that an effect that you used because the song was feeling melancholic, so you wanted to make it more dramatic? Like, what was, do you remember what the creative idea behind that was?
So in the original episode, he is like talking to himself, but to me, it was more powerful that like we just show or have Naruto speak that seed of doubt of like thinking that he can't handle it. And then of course we use kind of a show don't tell method with like the headband, like I explained earlier. And it also like the name of the song Decision definitely kind of played a part in like using it for that scene specifically. I looked at like, I have like a folder. I have a folder of like all your songs, like just on standby. Yeah. I have a folder of all the Naruto ones at least.
Why am I only knowing this now? What?
Because you didn't need to know.
It's okay. I have a folder of all our podcast recordings. This is normal.
Well,
This is normal.
Well, so did
behavior.
I. I was the
There's
editor.
All right. So I'll do Shinobi for 100, Kyo.
Okay. But yeah, like I said, like the name was a big factor in like choosing it, and then like once I actually listened to the piece, like I'll typically listen to like the first few notes of a song and see if like the opening of it fits, and if it happens to work later on in the song, I kind of just leave it. I kind of just use the portions of the songs that I need for whatever the emotion is I'm trying to convey.
Right. Should we hop to the next and last one?
Yeah. So last so far. Last so far.
That's well said. We'll do a part 2 if whenever Keel gets to like making more episodes and using more of my covers. In episode 2 at 12:45, we have a scene where Haku meets Naruto.
Mm-hmm.
In the woods, and my song cover of Despair comes on. This new style of music I'm going towards, which is like ambient orchestral. That's kind of where I like sitting in, because it's slower, it's more chill, and it allows me to be more creative, and I just like being there, and it goes well on the study playlist on Spotify, Kyo. It does. I can't lie. It's a bit of a bag. So the thing here is, this song was definitely like in that experimental portion of trying to do more like bell vibe focused music. But this, with the bird chirp ambience that you put in there, and the dialogue, and how Haku is trying to describe, a character that, if correct me if I'm wrong, like kind of reminds Haku of Naruto, and how Naruto is that kind of what it is? Like, what do you want to say about the scene?
Yeah, I mean, like, you kind of get like the direction I'm looking for. I hadn't considered the idea that like Haku sees Zabuza, or like traits of like Zabuza and Naruto, because like that wasn't the angle I was looking at specifically. To me, I listened to the songs firstly before I put them in, and I'll like play them underneath the audio of like whatever it is whatever is happening in the scene, to see if it fits. Because to me, like, when you're the last piece that I work on is the music, because if I if I did it at any other point, it would not fit. Because if I started with the music first, I would have to make sure that the audio matches before I did anything else. Because if you set it to music, it's a little harder. Like, for me personally, I think there are some people that could possibly do it. I wouldn't know personally, but anyway, the main reason I picked that song is because the whole scene to me is about Haku basically explain. The whole scene is kind of the scene was really important to me because, like, to me, this is a moment that not a lot of people seem to talk about in Naruto, because there's no fighting, there's no like big plot stuff really happening here. It's just these two characters who are on opposite sides who are just talking to each other. And for all intents and purposes, they get along pretty well. And that's a little weird when you consider all the factors at play behind that. Huh?
True. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. So to me, this scene is about people, and it's about the
human relation.
It's about like it's about like not dialing. It's about like zeroing in on what makes people human.
Absolutely. I really like that, the way you say that. And I feel like Despair is a very human piece. it's a very, very humble piece as well in
Yeah,
many
absolutely.
fashions because, it's only bells. It's only a music box. It's one instrument.
That's part of
It's
the reason that I liked it so
slower.
much is that it's so
Thank you.
simple. It's like part of me thought it was a piano cover at first, but I was like, wait a minute, that's not a piano. That's a music box.
Nope. Yeah. You see, your boy can do something other than piano covers. Because let's be honest, there was an era where it was only piano covers.
Well, when that's what you have to to make, that you work with your limitations.
Yeah. And then we we're a constant work in progress. But yes, absolutely, it's a very simple, slow, melancholic, once again, piece that fits in that scene really well. And I'm really glad you selected it because it's one of those few songs that I made that I just felt like, okay, it's cool. It can exist on the internet, but I don't expect it to like go anywhere. But seeing it selected in an abridged series, that's special to me. That's really special to me because I work really hard on those songs and I studied film music. And when you typically make film music, you make originals to pitch in films. But when I decided to go into a career path that's much more cover songs, I was like, I'm kind of have to let this film music placement goal sink a little bit if I'm really going to focus on this cover stuff as much as I need to. But this is a way to kind of rectify that. So that's why it's really special to me to have these two songs exist in the Naruto Abridged universe for Project Shuriken. Out of curiosity, you said you do the music last. Has there been any other specifically JaianMusic covers that were left on the cutting floor?
I was jumping around with a couple. I think one of the ones that I was looking at was... Let me see if I have this here. You can cut this out later, by the way.
You have the folder. Pull out the folder, Kyo. We want to know about the folder. How diverse is your financial portfolio, Kyo? No.
Not very. I was very tempted to use... there were a couple songs I was floating between on this. I was tempted to use Decision again because I thought that it would fit the scene,
really?
but I played it through and I really didn't like where it fit. And I was also like trying to see if I could use like what's the song? I was going to use Bluebird, but Bluebird was way too fast paced for the scene. I needed something much slower in order for it to fit.
I have a slower Bluebird. On Anime Anthems Volume 2.
Right. I was going off of like that playlist that you made forever ago. I don't know if you added to it since then or not, but I went through.
That's not that's fair enough. That's fair enough.
Yeah.
Need to update those. Yeah,
I went through,
I know which Bluebird you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what's one that I'm just gonna put it out there. I would love for this one to be used at some point. I'm not saying you should, but my Kakashi theme cover is one of my favorite early on covers. And I feel like Kakashi's just going to be a mainstay, obviously. I would love to see that fit in there at some point.
Yeah, I mean...
That's it. That's all.
I would love to find a spot for it, too. The thing is, like, sometimes I find, like, piano or, like, music box type covers kind of limiting for the scenes that you're doing. But...
that's true.
Because... to me, like, the reason that Despair works so well is because I kind of associate, like, music boxes with childhood, to be completely honest, because
I was just saying this on a previous episode. I'm so glad you said that. Yeah, literally. I'm not even kidding. I did a solo episode on my Lilium cover. And I was literally, it's piano and music box. That's the only instrumentation.
Right.
And I was talking about, anyways, please go on.
Yeah, because to me, like, I grew up, like, going back and forth between grandparents' houses because I was a difficult kid to take, or I was actually not a very difficult kid to take care of. It was my sister more than anything. But,
Shots fired. Shots fired.
Yeah, throw her under the bus. But I was very, I was a very relaxed kind of kid. I didn't do a whole lot, but I would visit my grandparents quite a bit, and there was always like a snow globe or a music box or something. And when I was like alone and I just wanted to hear something very nice, I would just turn the crank and I would sit there and listen to it for a while. And it kind of just kept me, or it kind of put me in a place where I don't feel like I've been since I was little. Because it
Right.
just gives
Absolutely. I
you
understand what you mean.
it to say it again, like the vibe kind of just it's just kind of an unexplainable vibe that you can't really get anywhere else. It's an incredibly unique sound.
Unique, and the other word I think when I think of despair is ever changing, even though it's very simplistic.
Hmm.
Ever changing because of how simple it is, you can very much stick it into a lot of different scenes and get a lot
Yeah.
of different results. You know?
Yeah, I mean, like,
You're-
where is the scene originally from? Is it from, like,
That is a great question.
is it from like the end of Sasuke versus Itachi, or is it from something else?
It
or?
could be. Let me ask Google. When is despair played in Naruto? Despair is episode 69. Oh no, that's literally the name of the episode is 69.
Oh, okay.
Can we just talk about the there's a Reddit thread here. Can we just talk about, and no one replied. Every time I think of Naruto, I hear that song playing in my ear. I think of Itachi, I think of Jiraiya, I think of everything that happens when that song plays in the anime. It even plays when Sakura throws a fake confession at Naruto. Oh my god, it does.
Oh, no.
I know exactly that scene. Do you know that scene or not?
Yep.
I hate it, Kyo. I hate it when people lie to themselves. Burn! Burn! Call the fire department because there's a burn. I'm sorry. Okay, that was cringe, but whatever. It does. You see what I mean? It's applicable.
The best word I can use to describe it, I think, is vulnerable.
I
'Cause
like that.
It kind of plays on a place that I think almost everybody's been to, where you are. It is to reuse the phrase or the term melancholy. It has sort of an underlying feeling of melancholy, but it also has sort of a wistful and kind of a hopeful tone to it, because it feels very
Yeah.
much like it's like the song it says it is about despair, but in despair there's also a silver lining to it, if you would.
There is. But it's all about the perspective of it.
Yeah,
At the end
absolutely.
of the day.
Yeah.
Because, Haku has this, like, halfway care for Naruto.
Mhm.
But another thing I want to get to here is because of it, it's an ambient piece, and I hear so many bird chirps in ambient music.
Mhm.
Was the decision to have birds in the ambience like intentional with this piece because it just fits really well, or did those two edits just kind of come together and it just kind of gave that result?
Initially I didn't have it in there. Initially it was just the song.
Ah.
And in my head, and because like I like to let music play out a scene. My personal favorite part of that entire episode is just when Haku isn't talking up until like finding Naruto, because I used some music from I think I used music from Full Metal Alchemist during that, and it's during the segment where Haku's like picking flowers and getting things out of the forest, and I wanted that to kind of show Haku as show Haku's vulnerability, because there's a quote from Kishimoto that I always think about now when I'm writing like some scenes like this. He says that I don't write villains, I write people. And
I like that.
And that speaks to me a lot, because a lot of the villains in Naruto, if you really look back at it, they are essentially all of the same. Like, you could use this as a criticism against Naruto, that they all kind of have a similar path that Naruto had. They usually start with nothing. They grow up and get stronger, and then something bad happens to them along the way, because initially they're a good person with a dream, a good dream that will benefit other people, but something goes wrong, and then they become the villain, and they force their ideals onto the world, and they kind of see the world from a different perspective. But the difference is
they all fall victim to Naruto's greatest technique.
Talk no
his strongest jutsu. Thank you. Carry on.
But anyway, like I was saying, like the phrase, I don't write villains, I write people. Like I said, you could use that as a criticism because a lot of the characters have a similar story structure to Naruto's backstory. And as we all know, Naruto really loves to use their flashbacks. They really like to force on you like all of this like story stuff. They like to dogpile it like right before you start to get like right after you've been fighting the villain for a while. You finally get to know who they are as a person. It's a little clunky because they use it a lot, but because the stories are usually so engaging, you don't care. Because you really just kind of see the person behind the villain of like the arcs that you're going through. And I think that's the most important thing, is like understanding that kind of like in real life, there are no villains in real life. Everybody is people. We just don't see the people side of everybody, because we don't see everybody's life from every single angle. We only see life through our personal perspective until that perspective is changed.
Right. No, that's perfectly said.
And that's why the scene of like Haku means so much to me. Like because it's showing
absolutely
Haku's human side more than anything.
Humanity. Yeah, the humanity. Absolutely. I completely agree with you. I was about to say, this feels like the perfect place to kind of start wrapping it up on. Before we go, Kyo, though, I want to ask. I got to ask you this. Because I don't know when we're going to get you back on, but Kyo does all the artwork for the podcast and for the albums, so he'll definitely come back on and break that down with me when we do album breakdowns, which are coming down the pipe. Because we're still like, very early on in this new podcasting adventure. What is your number one Naruto soundtrack that you love?
Oh, that is hard. That is difficult to say.
Right?
Man, that's a difficult one to say, because personally, a lot of my favorites... I can
go first.
A lot of my favorites are like the openings and endings. Like the openings for for certain seasons and the ending songs for certain seasons. Like those are my personal favorites usually. Silhouette is a pretty good one, I think.
Silhouette is amazing.
That's probably one of my favorite openings, honestly. If I had to pick a favorite ending, let me see if I can find it on my phone. I carry all these songs on my phone too, with Spotify and everything.
Love it.
Like, I'm terrible with remembering names for these for these songs, so I have to have them on me, or else I'll never remember them. I think "You Can Do It" by Domino is probably my favorite ending song.
I need to play that one back, but interesting. I'll have to go back and listen to that one. But thank you. If you guys have not listened to that song, go check it out. Go check it out. That's what it's all about on this podcast, exploring anime music. And there you go. You have the animation editing perspective on someone's favorite Naruto soundtrack. Kyo, thank you so much for coming on. It's been a pleasure. Usually I plug you, but today you'll plug you. Where can people find you on the interwebs?
You guys can find the Naruto Abridged by Project Shuriken on the Project Shuriken channel. We don't upload very regularly. The episodes just kind of come out when they come out. We will try to get episode 4 out before the year is over, though. And if you guys want to follow me, you can find me on Twitter, or X, as they call it. You can find me on Twitter at just GoProKyo, and you can find me on pretty much almost any social platform under the name GoProKyo or GoProKyo Arts.
Perfect. Make sure to use code JaianMusic when you buy your plugins over at Laser Audio Technologies. 25% off every dollar of that code going back into the podcast. You can follow me at JaianMusic on social media. JaianMusic.com is my website. And please give us a 5-star review and subscribe to us in your favorite podcatcher for JaianMusic Notes. So for myself and Kyo, this has been another episode of JaianMusic Notes. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.